Now moving on to Davos, under the theme of cooperation in a fragmented world, the World Economic Forum annual meeting opened since Monday in Davos, Switzerland, and has been focusing on solutions and public-private cooperation to tackle the world's most pressing challenges. President of the WEF, Borge Brende, said that the world needs collaboration to confront issues and ultimately to reduce poverty and achieve prosperity with solutions.
Meeting is happening against a very complicated backdrop. Geopolitically, geoeconomically, maybe the most complicated backdrop in decades. But even in such a situation, we try to identify areas where we can collaborate. And there are areas we were very pleased when President Xi Jinping and President Biden came together at the G20 meeting in Bali and agreed to restart the discussions on, for example, climate change. It shows it is possible if the will is there and to build trust.
Meanwhile, the head of the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, is warning that letting global tensions fragment the worldwide economy could cost trillions in lost growth. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva urged assembled business and political leaders in Davos to, quote, wake up, end quote, and preserve global trade even as they look to insulate their sources of supply from disruption. She said the pandemic and the war in Ukraine showed that some redundancy in where businesses source their parts and raw materials was needed. Reorganizing supply chains in a way that does not restrict trade would also reduce global growth by only 0.2% of global output. But if trade collapses, that could balloon to 7% of the global economy over time, or $7 trillion, the size of the economies of Japan and Germany altogether.
My appeal is to be very rational. Yes, we will not go back to the days when costs were the only consideration for where you allocate production and how supply chains work. COVID and the war told us security of supply requires some redundancy in supplies. In other words, there would be some cost. But if we are smart to keep that to the level where we make the economy, the world economy, more resilient and not drag the world into a place where we will be all poorer and we would be less secure. My fear is that we are sleepwalking into this world. But hey, here is Davos. Wake up! Do the right thing.